Hello everyone, welcome back to LeetCode Daily Live, where I do the daily question raw and uncut. So we have another medium today. Looks like it has something to do with grid. It could be like interval but in 2D. So that will be continuing from yesterday's topic, which are intervals. So you're given an integer n, so we have an int n, and we also have a list of rectangles here, so we can see how that would be represented. But let's see here first. So n representing the dimensions of an n times n grid with the origin at the bottom left corner. So you're also given a 2D array of chords, rectangles, where rectangles are, right, so it gives you the start and end. So representing a rectangle on the grid. So start will be the bottom left corner, and then end is going to be the top right corner. Yeah, so that will define how big the rectangle is. So yeah, also the rectangles don't overlap, and your task is to determine if it is possible to make either two horizontal or two vertical cuts, such that each of the three resulting sections formed by the cuts contains at least one rectangle, and every rectangle belongs to exactly one section. So return true if that can be made. Otherwise, return false. So one thing we can notice straight away is it says either two horizontal or two vertical cuts. So that means like we can look at like the horizontal and the vertical like separately. So yes, we can turn it back into a 1D interval kind of question, which are still kind of not good for me because I'm not good at interval questions. But let's see. Yeah, let's look at the bounds as well. Yeah, we have a lot of rectangles, so we need a n or n log n algorithm for this. But yeah, we definitely want to separate out like the horizontal check and the vertical check. So what we should do is we should get the intervals separately, right? So let's deal with horizontal first. So horizontal, and then like we would deal with vertical below. Yeah, so we want horizontal horizontal intervals, and we can just get it directly from rectangles, right? So so something for rectangle in rectangles, and we just have to do this something now. So let's see what we need. So start x yeah, let's put horizontal intervals and vertical intervals. That will be a bit more clearer. So I'll call it hori intervals. Yeah, so we are gonna get the start x. So that will be the start. Wait, let's look at the diagram actually. So 1 0 is going to be the start here, and then 5 2. So we want 1 to 5, right? So that means we want the 0th and the second element in here. And for the vertical one, we are just gonna get 1 and 3. So that's gonna be 0 to 2, like for this rectangle here. I'm talking about this case here. Yeah, and then what else do we need though? So we want to find cuts that doesn't cut through any rectangles, right? But at the meantime, we don't want to cut somewhere that wait, so that there are two things we have to consider, right? So the first thing is our line shouldn't cut through any rectangles. And the second thing is let's say we have a cut here already, we shouldn't cut here again because there are no rectangles in between. So I think like instead of finding the exact place to cut, we want to find the region where we can cut. So so for example, horizontally, we can cut here, right? And then like if we have like more rectangles, we can cut here again. So we have to like somehow filter the intervals. So if we are thinking of intervals, we have to somehow like filter them. And then we want to check whether whether we can like cut in between two rectangles. So that kind of goes back to the question yesterday, where you have to like sort them by the end interval. But then for the intervals, like you can get something like this, right? And if you're only looking at these two rectangles, yeah, you can obviously cut through that. But then you have to consider this as well. So you want to get rid of all the intervals that are being overlapped by a bigger interval. So that's kind of what we're going to do here. Wait, let me think about it. Yes, if we are sorting like based on the end intervals, we can just use a stack again, just like yesterday. And then we can we can just get all the relevant intervals. And yeah, so and also we can make a cut here, right? So let's say we have like two intervals that like barely like intersect with each other, like on one point. We can still cut through that, and that's fine. But yeah, as long as we can find two of these regions that we can cut through, it works. But otherwise, we are going to return false. So at the very end, we are going to return false here. But yeah, we want to count of regions. So that's the number of cuts. Maybe we'll call number of cuts, something like this. Yeah, we're going to finish the horizontal section first, and then we can basically just copy the code for the vertical section. Yeah, so first of all, we want to filter, we want to sort and filter the intervals. So horizontal intervals, we want to sort based on the end. So key is going to be equal to lambda x, and then we want to sort based on the endpoint, and also we want the negative here for the start point. So that means like if we have the same endpoint for two intervals, the one that's longer, so the one with the smaller start point is going to be later on. So that means like when we are using the stack and checking whether like it is a complete overlap, if we do it the other way, we wouldn't see that this completely overlaps this. So that's the reason why I did why I want to sort based on the end, and sorting non-decreasing based on the starting points. Yeah. So we want filtered horizontal intervals. Yeah. So we make a stack, and now while filtered. Wait, we should do for horizontal interval. We can just do like start end in horizontal intervals. So while filtered horizontal intervals, while it has some elements, end. So we want to write up the overlap thing again, of course. So, a complete overlap. So we have the starting point, we have the end point, and then we have the second starting point and end point, which we want to return a boolean. We should also mark that these are int as well. So we just want to return, so S1 has to be has to be smaller or equal to S2, and the endpoint, like the first endpoint, has to be like equal or larger than the second endpoint. So that's how we check. So complete overlap. So we want filtered horizontal. Wait, we want the current one first, I think. Yeah, because like as we have seen here, the current one is going to be larger than the previous one, like not the other way. We need filtered horizontal intervals. So we want the last element, so we can just do -1, and then the start point is just going to be 0. And then we need that as well. So that will be the starting point and ending point of the top, like the top of the stack. And if it is a complete overlap, we just want to pop the top, right? And so after we have gotten a non-overlapping interval, we want to, or like if the stack is empty, that's when we add our current interval in. So if we do that, we're going to get the non-overlapping like intervals. So now we can check for each pair whether we can so like for each adjacent pair, so something like this. For each adjacent pair, we can check whether we can make a cut, right? So we can make a cut here, but if this overlaps, we can't make a cut here. And we're guaranteed that we won't have something like this, where like for these two, it looks like we can cut it, but there's actually one here, because this is going to overlap with these two, right? So yeah. So you just want to do if filtered horizontal intervals. So we just want to check the starting point of the second interval. So something like this. It has to be larger or equal than the endpoint of the first interval. So if that's the case, actually we should bring this closer to our loop because it is more relevant down here. We just want to add 1 to the number of cuts that we can make, and at the end, if number of cuts if the number of cuts is greater or equal to 2, that means, well, we can make like 2 cuts, right? That means, so we want to return true. Oh, one thing we have to check is whether we can make, well, it says it has to be, yeah, so we can't make 1 vertical and 1 horizontal cut, right? Yeah, it has to be, if it is possible, make either 2. Yeah. So if that's not true, we just want to go straight into vertical intervals, which we can more or less just copy the code up here. It's very convenient. So all the horizontal stuff, just want to turn it into vertical. And then, so the number of cuts, if it is greater than 2, if it is greater or equal than 2, we want to return true. Yeah, but also we should switch this out as well. So we are looking at the vertical intervals now. Do we have to change any more stuff? Yeah, I think that works. Unless it doesn't, of course. But let's see. Vertical intervals is not defined. Oh, I didn't change this one. Okay, seems like it works, but interval questions always have a lot of edge cases, so I'm not. Oh, I was gonna say I'm not confident, but it works. Yeah, so yeah, I think like I learned about that. We need to filter the overlap stuff. Like if we want to check, like overlap from yesterday, so that's really helpful for today's question actually, and yeah, yeah, I think this question, uh, I don't want to say whether it's easy or hard because like I'm really bad at interval questions, but yeah, I think it's definitely doable. And yeah, so thanks for watching. If you have any questions you want me doing or any feedback, please leave a comment, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.